Hi. It's nice to see you, but where is Eddie Howe?
He's feeling a little bit under the weather, and you know he must be feeling under the weather for him not to come out and do the press. So he sent me out to you guys today.
Do you expect him to be on the touchline for the match tomorrow?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's in all the years I've been working with him. Then, you know, he's been under the weather a few times, but he's always been there to lead the team.
You had a great result and great performance at Aston Villa the other night. Just how significant was it for you?
Really important. You know, we knew we need to get back on track with our league form especially. We had a good result away at Fulham in the FA Cup. And it's a really difficult place to go, Aston Villa, and get a result as we've seen with the unbeaten record they've had at home recently. So to go there and perform the way we did and to get the result was great for us, and it gives us confidence going into the next game this weekend.
And you mentioned the wins that you've had in the FA Cup, but in the Premier League things have been a bit tougher for a little while, and I'm sure internally you didn't lose belief, but how nice was it to remind the supporters just how good this Newcastle team can be, because you did that at Aston Villa? Yeah,
we did. We was more back to our old self. We've had a lot more contact time on the training ground with the team and with the players, and I think that's shown in our last two results and performances. And as you say, you know, hopefully now that can be the springboard for us to go on and perform as everyone knows we can.
Because you had that spell probably from, I don't know, late October or early November up until just after Christmas, where you were playing every 3 or 4 days. Now it's a bit, I know you had a midweek game this week, but it's been a bit clearer recently. Just how crucial is that for you to have that time with the players, given the way that you like to work, and it was something that you had last season, of course?
It's really important for us to have that contact time, to be able to get out on the grass and to do the work that we need to do to give ourselves the best possible chance of going out and performing the way we know we can. And I think that's shown in the last couple of games. And you know, we've come off the back of a real difficult schedule with the run of fixtures we've had and with the amount of injuries we've had, and you know, I think that sort of probably showed in some of our performances. But you know, the last two results have gave us a lot of confidence, and hopefully we can now build on that.
You played Luton away from home just before Christmas. They're now outside the relegation zone after a big win over Brighton the other night. What have you learnt about them over the last few weeks, you know, from the match that you had and the way that they've picked up and carried on getting results?
I think you've got to give Luton a lot of credit. You've got to give the manager and the coaching staff a lot of credit for their recent performances. I think since they've played us, the last 8 games, they've been on a really good run, show some really good form, and they're a really, really difficult side to play against. And I think with their recent results and with the amount of goals and the goal threat that they carry, they're a dangerous team. So credit to Luton for the way they've been performing. But you know, it's good that you look at our performance against Aston Villa, and you look at us play sort of there and see we're back to our old selves. So it should make for a really good game, and hopefully we can go out there and deliver another good performance the weekend.
And you moved up the table obviously through the victory over Aston Villa, and after the match you were back in the European places. Another win can help you try and hold on to one of those. How do you see the picture at the top of the table now? Because you dropped a few places, but the gap's not that big.
It's not, and to be honest, we don't really focus too much on on the gap at the top of the league. We focus on our next performance and making sure that we're in the right place and we go out there and we perform, and it's game by game. And as I say, Villa was a great performance, a great game. That's now gone, and our main focus now is on Luton and making sure we go out there and deliver a performance.
Final question I want to ask you: at the beginning of the season, there was a new rule introduced regarding the technical area, with managers not allowed to stand alongside a coach. You have to stand, I think, a few paces back, don't you? You and Eddie Howe always kind of worked together in that way, but the new rule obviously affects you. How have you responded to it, and what do you make of it?
I think we've responded to it all right, actually. And not received a yellow card or any cautions, so it must be going okay. But listen, it's we've been working together for a long time, and it's something that we've always done from League Two right the way through to the Premier League. So it took a little bit of getting used to at the beginning, but I think we've got the balance right now.
As a coach or a manager, have you ever been yellow carded?
Yes, but that was after a game. I was disputing a decision with a referee.
Thanks.
Keith? Jason, it's been a long time since you've done one of these. I think it was the opening week or the opening 2 weeks of the season when I think Eddie had COVID at the time. A lot's changed, a lot has happened since then. How much have you enjoyed it?
Really enjoyed it, Keith. It's been a great journey for us since we've been here at Newcastle. We've had some fantastic days, fantastic evenings, fantastic memories. None more so than probably last year with the achievements that we achieved. So it's been a great journey so far, and now all we're looking to do is to continue that journey and to try and deliver success in this football club.
What you seem to have done is you've achieved cult status amongst the Newcastle support. Is that something, I guess you're aware of it, but do you enjoy that?
You know what, it's great. Obviously, out of two, you want to be loved or a choice of being loved or hated, and you're always going to choose sort of to be loved. But I've got nothing but good things to say about the Newcastle fans. The way they get behind the team, the way they get behind sort of the staff, and as you say, they've shown me a lot of love, and I'm really thankful and appreciative of that.
It feels very much like when you watch the two of you in a touchline, and Razor touched on it there, it feels a little bit like it's like good cop, bad cop with yourself and Eddie. Is that something that you've worked on over the years? Because Eddie's come in here before and said, look, this isn't a new thing with Jason. We've been together for a number of years and it's always been like this. Is that something you guys work on, or is it just a chemistry that has developed over the year?
I'd say it's the way we've always been, really. It's just the chemistry that's developed over the years. We never really speak about our behaviour really on the touchline. Our main focus is always the team and getting the best out of the team, and if we have to adapt during the game and speak about that and what we need to do. So that's always the main focus, not how we act. We obviously want to act in a professional way and represent sort of the club in the right way, but as I say, we've been together for a long time, and the way we are now is no different to the way we was, back in League 2, League 1.
What's your thoughts on the nickname Mad Dog?
Yeah, it's stuck anyway. It's been there for a while, and there's obviously a lot of memes going around and stuff that I get sent from time to time. But it's all within good humour, and it's fine, no problem.
In terms of the injury situation, obviously you've not had your problems to seek throughout the last sort of 2 or 3 months. Is it looking better at all for the weekend? Is Harvey Barnes, is there potential for him to be back involved?
There's a potential. There's a couple of lads that are getting closer. We've got another training session today, so once training's done today, then you sort of assess the squad and assess where everyone is, and it's certainly getting better than what it was in sort of a few weeks ago. You got sort of Harvey, Callum Wilson, sort of Joe Willock, sort of pretty close. Whether they're going to be fit enough to be involved tomorrow, we'll have to make that decision sort of later on today after training.
Yeah, so there's a question mark over all 3 of those.
There's a question mark sort of over all 3 of them. Harvey and Callum sort of probably a little bit ahead of Joe, but still they're sort of out on the field sort of doing their stuff, and we just have to assess sort of where they are and to make the right call whether we involve them or not.
And how's Alex after the other night? Obviously withdrawn at Villa, and did he get a scan earlier this week? How's he looking?
He's a lot better. He's improved. I say he's a lot better. He's improved. Wednesday, Thursday, and sort of this morning. Again, there's an improvement. So again, he'll be one that we'll have to assess after today to see sort of if he makes tomorrow's game or not.
Oh, so he actually has a chance.
He's got a chance to be involved tomorrow, but that's one we'll have to assess today. Take advice from the medical team and then sort of see where we are.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Andy? Morning, Jason. Good to see you, and hope Eddie's feeling better very, very soon. Just from the other night, how nice was it for you and Eddie to watch it back the customary, 10, 15 times the game and actually have a positive result for an away performance?
Yeah, it was a really good performance. We knew going into the game what a tough place Villa Park is to go and get a result, and they've had a fantastic season, been doing incredibly well. So it was always going to be a tough game for us, but the most important thing for us was that we went out there and we delivered a performance. We had a really good training week last week, so we was confident going into the game that we was where we needed to be, and to deliver the performance and get the result we got was really satisfying. Obviously, watching the game back, as we always do, we was really happy with the performance and with what we see.
It's the first time I think I've seen, since covering football, a player swap his shirt for a chocolate bar, but Bruno seemed to do that when he left it. Did he at least share it around the dressing room afterwards or not?
It took a bit of persuading, but he did. Yeah, no, he did. I think it's players always give out their shirts to fans, and it was nice that one of them got something back in return, and the lads surely they enjoyed a few kingdoms after the game. Yeah.
How nice was it to be back in the midst of a dressing room full? So I need to ask you, with obviously being up in the press conference today, how do you always end up in the centre?
A lot of it is superstition. I think you probably look at most photos and you'll see people who are pretty much in the same place. It's just the way it is, and it's not. I know there's a lot of stuff that gets said in social media and stuff, but I take that with a pinch of salt. It's just that's how it's worked out, and you tend to stick with where you are.
Great news, obviously, on Lewis Miley this week, signing a new long-term contract at the club. With Lewis signed down, how important is it, how crucial is it, I suppose, to Newcastle's future success that other players are tied down, the likes of Joe Linton, if Newcastle are going to advance and progress? I
think talking on Louis Miley is an exceptional talent, and I think it's 17 to do what he's done this season. Come into the team, perform as well as he has is been a great achievement for him. So we're delighted that Louis Miley's signed a long-term contract, and as I say, every club wants to keep all their best players, and we're no different to everybody else. You touched there just when speaking to Keith about the furore around yourself. Is crazy the right word to describe it, since you've been here at the club and have the furore around yourself, whether it's the touchline, whether it's, I think a video was released by a betting site this week about you. Is that all a bit crazy to you? Do you know what? I take it all with a pinch of salt, to be honest. I don't really take too much notice of what people say and people put on social media. That's part and parcel of probably doing this type of job where you're in the spotlight. Just the most important thing for me is focusing on the team and focusing on what I do to assist the manager and to get the best out of the players and the team, and that's all I can focus on. What goes on around that is out of my control, but I take it all with a pinch of salt. Just on Luton, was that result at Kenilworth Road and the performance at Kenilworth Road, was that one of the more, I suppose, difficult times of the season? Of course, we certainly wasn't happy with our performance at Kenilworth Road, and certainly not the result either. It was a time where we was coming off a really tough schedule. Disappointment of the Carabao Cup result at Chelsea just before that, and so we certainly wasn't happy with our performance at Kenilworth Road, but that was some time ago now, and just focusing on the recent couple of results and performances, they've been much better than what they was on that day. So that's what we're focusing on, and now we're in a good place to go out there and deliver a good performance tomorrow. And just finally, just with the last couple of results and with the run of fixtures coming up there, as in Premier League standards, I suppose a little bit kinder, is there the opportunity to generate that sort of momentum if Newcastle are going to make an assault on the European players, isn't it? Oh, I'm not so sure you can probably look at the Premier League that way in terms of any result or any fixture being kinder to another. You look at probably going to Villa Park on Tuesday night. No doubt there would have been a lot of people sort of probably that didn't expect us to go there and deliver the performance and get the result we got. So we know every game is tough, and there's no sort of give me a 3 points in the Premier League. So all we can do is just make sure that we're fully focused. We've done our preparation, and everyone's in the right place to go out there and deliver a performance. And we're confident that if we deliver the performance we know we can, then that'll be good enough to get 3 points.
Thanks, Andy. Alistair?
What's the mood been like in the squad this week after that win? Was it a bit of a relief?
The mood's been good. I've got to say we've got a fantastic change room with a great bunch of lads. The togetherness, I think, is there for everybody to see, and through the good times and through the bad times, we've been together. We've believed in what we're doing. We've believed in each other. But as you say, off the back of 2 results and off the back of certainly getting a good result performance at Villa, the mood and the confidence is obviously lifted. So the mood's been great, and hopefully now we can just stay focused and continue the form that we're in.
We've seen Anthony Gordon go up front when Wilson and Isak haven't been available. What have you made of his ability to do that, and I presume you trust him to do it more going forward?
Yeah, it's something we know. Ant can play anywhere across the front 3 positions. He played as a striker a lot actually when he was at Everton, and the times he's played up front for us, he's done very well. And I think you look at Anthony Gordon's numbers this year. I think he's had 12 goal contributions, so that just goes to show sort of the talent he is, and what a good player he is for us. And that's regardless whether he plays on the left or on the right, or whether he plays up front. We're confident that he'll go out there and be a real threat for the opposition and deliver a good performance.
Thank you. Damien?
Jason, Eddie seems a level-headed guy when we speak to him all the time. You've known him a long time. How did he handle that difficult spell over Christmas and New Year?
As I would expect him to, no different. We've been in football, long enough now to know that, it's not just things don't just go in a straight line upwards. There's always going to be sort of twists and turns, and sort of bumps in the road. But the most important thing is that you have to stay level-headed, and I don't think there's probably a better manager sort of that's out there that understands that, and sort of his previous experience of what we've gone through in the past. I think helps you sort of deal with these moments, and Ed's brilliant in them situations. Stays focused, focuses on the next game, and our preparations sort of don't change, and the work we do don't change. And I think that you hope that you stick with them beliefs, then you come out the other side, and you get the results that you can, and that's what we've done sort of in the last couple of games. But that's just the last couple of games. We've got to make sure now that we do it. But he's been great throughout the whole time of our time together as a management team.
As you say, you have a long history together. How have you seen Eddie develop over the years, and particularly since he came here?
Of course, no doubt, been working together for a long time, so you see each other sort of develop, and new experiences and different challenges sort of help you within that. And I've got to say, sort of he's been fantastic since his time at Newcastle, and he gets better sort of season upon season. Always looking to find that extra sort of 1%, as we know, always driving everyone to strive and to do better, and I think you can see that.
Thank you. Luke Edwards, then Craig Hall.
Hi Jason, so I see you're as evasive about fitness updates as Eddie is.
Been well trained.
Why do you think you've become such a high profile assistant manager? It's not usual in the Premier League.
Do you know what? It's not. That's probably not a question I can answer. That's obviously, other people sort of create these things. Sort of, it's not led by me, or I don't sort of instigate anyway. And people say what they want to say, and I can't sort of control that, and I can't do anything about that. As I say, all I can focus on is my job and what I deliver and what I do for Newcastle, and that's my only focus. What happens around that, as I say, is out of my control, and I can't do anything about it.
You seem to, I'm an irritant, so will know, but you seem to get under the skin of position managers as well. Is that conscious? Is that deliberate? How do you respond to that?
It's not deliberate, and again, I can't do anything about it. I'm just me, and I won't stop being me. I think if all of a sudden, because of what people say or what people do, if anyone thinks that's going to stop me behaving in a certain way or stop me sort of being me and being my real self, then it's not going to happen, because then I wouldn't be me, and so Listen, I don't mean to get under opposing manager's skin and sort of almost upset anyone, but all I'm interested in doing is helping Newcastle United win football matches, and once kickoff's there, then that's my only motivation, that's my only goal, is to do everything in my power to help the team. And if that upsets a few people along the way, then so be it.
I think that's why Newcastle United supporters love you. I think you probably just summed it up there. They really appreciate the fact that you don't seem to care really if you're upset people.
No, as I say, I'm not going to stop being me, and that's all I can do. And my main focus is here at Newcastle.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Craig and Lee Ryder. Craig.
Morning, Jason. You're a big part of Eddie, transfer work that you do. We came into this window and Eddie had said that he wanted reinforcement. He finished the window without that. How do you reflect on the business all left off? And would you have liked this to have come in?
I think there's been a real lack of business sort of everywhere, as we've seen certainly this January. It's been the quietest one that I think I've known for a long time. But I think you can look at transfer windows two ways. You can look at it as an opportunity to strengthen, and we're always trying to strengthen if the right players are available, and we can. But the other way is to sort of not weaken and not sell your best players. And I think if you come out of any transfer window where you haven't weakened your team, then I think it's been a good window, and I think that's the way we've got to look at it.
And how do you assess the striker situation? In the time at the club, Callum and Alex have both started pretty much exactly 50% of the Premier League games that have been played in that time. So there is a potential weakness there in terms of their availability. How do you assess the striker situation with two? Bear in mind Anthony could probably start tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we've got two outstanding strikers that that are very different in the way they play, in Callum Wilson and Alex, and they're both such a goal threat. We've been a little bit unlucky, as you say, where we've not sort of had them both fit probably for as long as we would have liked. But sometimes you can't sort of predict that, and you can't help sort of picking up injuries that you get sort of during training or games. But we know we've got Anthony Gordon as well, who can play up front, who's done it as we spoke earlier, sort of at Everton, and when he's gone up front for us, he's done that job very well and been a real threat. So we're really happy with the with Callum and Alex as our two strikers, knowing that we've got Anthony Gordon if we need to call upon him.
And just lastly, a quick one on yourself. Have you any ambitions to be a manager in your own right, or will it always be Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall?
No, I think it's always, I've made it clear sort of before that, I'm happy in sort of my role and what I do. I think me and Ed work well together. We've been a good team for so long, and that's how I want it to continue.
Thank you. Thanks, Craig. Lee Ryder then, Dominic.
The incident at the end of the game where Emery didn't want to shake hands. I mean, does that almost give you like a little psychological thing that you've got under the skin in a big game like that?
I don't look at it that way, in terms of it's not a battle between me and the opposing manager or the opposing sort of coaching staff. It's if someone don't want to shake my hand at the end of the game, I'm not in control of that. I wouldn't personally do that myself. Sort of win or lose. I think some people act a little bit differently when they lose compared to when they win, but that's down to the individual. But I certainly don't go out to sort of almost cause that problem to begin with. If they don't like what they see, then no problem. I'm not offended by it.
Yeah, and obviously on the other side of now of that sort of 6 defeats in 7, it's a good feeling. But you must have loads of positive vibes now moving in the second half of the season and looking up the table rather than over your shoulder. Yeah,
of course. We knew we wasn't in such a good reign of form. Certainly with, as you say, sort of losing 6 in 7. That's not where we wanted to be and the results we wanted to get. So to come out the other side of that with 2 good results at 2 really difficult places, Fulham and Aston Villa, and deliver sort of two good performances. can only help us moving forward. So what's happened in the past is the past. We can't change that. We can't do anything about it. All we can do now is focus on the next game and focus on what we do from now moving forward. And we're confident in terms of where we are. We're confident in the work and what we're seeing that the players are delivering on the training ground and in the previous 2 games. And hopefully we can now build on that, use the confidence that we've took from the previous couple of results and take that forward and hopefully go on a good run now and finish the season in a really good way.
Just finally on Sandro Tonali, the fans were chanting his name the other night. He's obviously quite a long time away from coming back. How nice is that, and are you getting closer to giving him, at least in behind closed doors, run out or anything like that?
It's great because Sandro's a great kid. He's a great lad. Trains really hard every single day, and he's going to be a really, really top player for this football club moving forward. So to see the fans showing him that love, I think during a difficult time for him is obviously really important, and I'm sure he'll take a lot of confidence and love from that. We've got quite a few months until Sandro can obviously actually play a competitive game, but certainly nearer the time he'll be playing a lot more competitive football. He's training well every single day. We're doing work with him every single day to make sure that when he does come into the team, he's ready. He understands and and he can then go out there and show all the Newcastle fans what a top player he is.
Dom, John, and then Chris.
Morning, Jason. Just on the subject of training, do you expect Eddie to be taken to this session?
Yeah, I think Eddie will certainly be out there today and take some part of training at least for sure. And then I imagine he'll probably go home and rest up and make sure he's in the best physical condition possible for tomorrow's game.
Just going back to injuries, how close is Jamal Lascelles? You did mention him before after missing the last 2 games.
Jamal Lascelles, is another one that's very close. Again, another one we'll probably have to assess after today to see how close he is, but he's certainly not far away at all if he don't make tomorrow.
John.
Hi Jason. There was a lot of speculation surrounding potential going into the final weeks of the window. Just how pleased are you to see the squad state together?
Really pleased, and I touched on earlier, I think certainly transfer windows, you never want to lose any of your best players, and I think there's been a lot of paper talk and a lot of publicity around players potentially leaving the football club. I know there's been a lot said about Callum, a lot said about Kieran, but a lot said about Miggy Almiron, just to name a few. But I think it just goes to show the professionalism and the attitude and the commitment of them type of players. You just look at Miggy and Kieran, the contribution that they made away at Villa on Tuesday night. Both players was outstanding, and I think that just goes to show what type of characters they are and how much this football club means to them.
And was keeping the squad together more important than signing Cummins this month?
I think you always want to keep your best players at the football club. I think you asked any manager, coaching staff, any squad that you always want to keep your best players at the football club, and we certainly do here at Newcastle. And to know we've still got everyone available now for the second half of the season, we're delighted with that.
Cheers. Thanks. Chris.
Morning, Jason.
Morning, Chris.
You mentioned keeping the squad together, but since the takeover and since you guys arrived, that it felt like a very different transfer window this one to previous ones. It's been about who you could sign rather than who you might lose. Has it felt different in that sense for you this month as well?
I think it's probably felt a little bit different in the sense that there's been a lot of speculation in terms of there's been a lot of our players linked with other clubs. But as I said before, we've got an exceptional group of players in the change room, very level-headed, very professional, and just touching on Miggy and Trips there, and that just goes for the whole group of players. Their commitment to this football club, I think, is always been there, and that won't change. So what gets said about them and what speculation there is out there, I don't think that will change almost their mentality towards their performance for the club.
In terms of Miggy Almiron, how did he respond to all of that sort of speculation? I know he was ill at the same time as well, so how was last week for him?
We spoke to Miggy a couple of times last week, and I think anyone that's come into contact with Miggy will know what an unbelievable lad he is. He's never a second problem. Trains to his maximum every single day, and every time he puts on a Newcastle shirt, you can see the level of effort he always sort of gives to the club and to the team. So he was fine, and to come on at Aston Villa when he was probably only 50% sort of from a physical perspective, because he was really under the weather for the previous few days. So to come out and deliver the performance he did, and to sort of run as much as he did, just is testament to sort of him and his character.
Just finally on I think Reza mentioned the rule that was brought in at the start of the season to stop sort of like more than one assistant being on the touchline. It seemed to be the rule that was introduced for you. Jurgen Klopp, I think, even referenced it, that it was specifically. How did it feel that it was basically seemed as it almost was targeted at you in Newcastle?
Yeah, it probably was, wasn't it? Because no, but it's I always say I've never got any problem with if any coaching staff want to go and stand up alongside their manager, or to help their team, or to sort of talk or whatever. It's never any problem sort of for me or to us, but I think you have to sort of do it in a respectful way, and you sort of have to obviously abide by the rules, and I think we've done that well this year. Sometimes I might get a little bit carried away from time to time, but I always get dragged back into my place by the fourth official, and that's fine. So no, the rule is the rule, and you have to abide by it, and I think it's been fine this year.
Thanks, Chris. Simon, then Kieran.
Hi, Jason. Jurgen Klopp talked last week when he announced he was stepping down. Said he was worn out by the job, and it was so relentless, and the pressure was so relentless. How does Eddie cope with that, and can that lead to you getting ill in the middle of the season? And it's pretty relentless at that level.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think probably Jurgen's done. He's arguably one of the best managers that there's been for a long time. And he's done an incredible job at Liverpool. And I think we've probably seen it more so this year than we have before, with the schedule and the Champions League and the cup competitions, league competitions, and I think certainly more so for a manager when you're having to sort of lead the team, sort of game by game, and sort of deliver your work on the training ground, as well as then obviously dealing with you guys, sort of probably the amount of times that you have to sort of don't mean that in a negative way, but the time that sort of obviously takes out of their time, then it can be exhausting for sure. But I think as a manager you probably become accustomed to it, but then there does come a point where probably Jurgen's been at the top level doing it for so long, where he's maybe looked at it and thought sort of now's the time to have a bit of a rest. And but speaking on sort of Ed does incredibly well to sort of do that, but he's had his year out, and so he's maybe a little bit fresher than a few others, but yeah.
Yeah, and your role as well. How would you describe your role in the backups in the coaching team? Are you enforcer, joker, tactician? Are you the good cop at the bad cop? I couldn't work it out before.
Well, we work hand in hand really. We obviously we share the same office, and we're sort of with each other pretty much the majority of the time. So we're always talking about the team. We're always trying to find ways that we can improve, and we've both got our roles in terms of what we deliver out on the training ground and what we do. We support each other whenever we need to. But there's no real sort of set sort of role in terms of do that. Day to day we'll sort of plan the training session, plan our tactics, and then sort of we'll support each other in delivering that.
Yeah. In terms of getting into players and delivering messages, are you the one who does it, or does Eddie? Can Eddie do that as well? Or?
We both do it. I think you sort of see that. We both deliver sort of messages to players. I think it's it's important that we work together. It's being a manager is incredibly difficult. To try and take on all the responsibility on your own shoulders is incredibly difficult, certainly at this level, with the amount of detail and the amount of information that you need to get across to the team and to the players. So it's a team thing. We sort of work together on that, and obviously you've got the coaching staff of Simon, Perchie and Graham Jones as well, sort of the analyst team. So everyone contributes, but myself and Ed will always communicate and sort of plan the day and have our own specific rules, our own specific roles on that day.
Thanks. Kieran and then Martin to finish.
Hi Jason, you're credited as being the man behind the team picture at Sunderland last month. Could I ask you about that? What was the thinking?
It was just listen, I think it's clear that we've always had a team photo sort of whenever we win, because I think it's incredibly difficult to win football matches, as we all know. And when you look back on your career, you sort of want something to look back on and sort of to remind you of some good moments. And I think that's the reason why we do it, because you got to enjoy the moment of winning, because that's what we all want to do. The Sunderland one was obviously you had so many Newcastle fans sort of behind the goal. The support the fans have gave us since we've been here certainly has been incredible. I think sometimes it's nice to share nice moments with the fans. We've done it a couple of times at the end of the season, games where we've had a photo on the pitch sort of in front of the fans, and I think it's nice that you share that moment with them, because they give so much to the team. Their support, it costs them a lot of money, and the love they always show us. And I think sometimes it's nice to give something back, and when you look back on that, it's a great photo.
Yeah, and I mean it's ridiculous saying sorry. Does it feel like an important summer to come? I know the windows aren't just closed now. But
do you know what? We haven't thought that far ahead. I think if we start thinking about what we're going to do in the summer, then sort of we'll get sidetracked for what's important now, which is obviously sort of Fulham and focusing on sort of our next results. So obviously sort of towards the end of the season, we'll give that a little bit more thought in terms of transfers, etc., etc. But certainly the main focus now is on sort of how we can improve the team, and how we can go out there and deliver performances to win games.
Fine, can I just ask about the work you do on set pieces? It seems the team has come a long way in the past couple of years in that field.
Yes, set pieces is a huge part of the game, and we spend a bit of time on set plays. I lead the set plays. And I think it's really important that you're well organised, and we always sort of pride ourselves on trying to be creative and making sure we're well organised, and we try and cause the opposition problems wherever we can. And I think if you can do that, then it gives you a bit of an advantage. And it's nice. In the last two games, we've obviously scored 4 goals from set plays, and hopefully we can continue that now for the second half of the season.
Martin to finish.
Hi Jason. Just how good a coach is Eddie, and what is his level of commitment to the club that people don't see?
As a top coach, I don't think you achieve what he's achieved without being a top coach. He's in there with the elite bracket, in my opinion, of top coaches out there. I think the journey that we've had, and what Ed's had from his time in management, going from obviously minus 17 is where it all started in League Two to then come in sort of to a club like Newcastle, and sort of achieving what we've achieved in the last couple of years. So he's a top coach, and he's always striving to be better, and I think that's what makes him elite. He's always striving to be better, always striving to get the best out of the players, the best out of sort of people and staff, and it'll never change. And he'll continue to work all the hours that are available to make himself the best, but ultimately to give Newcastle United the best chance of success.
And how did the players respond to him on the training ground?
I think I suppose the best way to answer that is to what they deliver on a match day. And I think you've only got to look at the level of commitment that the players go out there and deliver, and the performances that they deliver, I think is testament to the manager and to the work that gets done. So they've all got a fantastic relationship with him. He's always very, very honest with everyone, with the players, and has a lot of individual meetings. And I think what you see is testament to what he delivers.
And sorry, last one. You've been heavily involved, I believe, when the players do their life stories. How important has that been for the unity amongst the players and the success you've had over the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, I think all that sort of stuff is really important to bringing everyone closer together, because as we know, everyone's got different backgrounds that I'm sure sort of everyone even in this room is, if no one would probably know the background that they've had and where they've come from and what that looks like. And I think that type of thing brings people closer together. You get a better understanding of the individual, and what they need and the experiences they've had. So that type of thing sort of does help, brings everyone together. And I think it's clear to see the unity of the group that we've got here, not only the players but the staff and the fans. And I think it's so powerful that we've got that, and we'll do our utmost best to sustain, to try and keep that.